Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I love seeing new guests today. Thank you for our first timers who are here. We have some new people who have joined the BraveMaker Membership Mastermind. And then I know we also have some first time guests who are here for the free focus spotlight on acting with Mr. Tristan J. Shuler. Very exciting. So we are recording this today, so you can watch it on the replay. And real quick, my name is Tony Gapastone. I'm founder and director of BraveMaker, and we do this every Monday. So every Monday there is a collective of makers of all kinds. So the mastermind pitch is, if you want a creative support group, this is what the mastermind is. If you want professional development, this is what the mastermind is. If you want to make and build relationships in the industry, this is what the mastermind is. So we've got people who view themselves as authors, writers, filmmakers, directors, actors, choreographers, producers, editors, all of the actors. Did I say that? All of the like. So every Monday, 10 a.m. And once we get 20 members, we're going to start another one. And with the same price of $99 a month, you can drop into these membership groups that meet throughout the week for encouragement. Sometimes we do what we call the hot seat, where you could read some pages of your book or share a song that you've composed or show us your demo reel for your editing or your acting, or we can read the first act of your short film or 5 pages of your feature, whatever it is, and get feedback. So that's the goal with the membership mastermind. So if you're here for the first time for the free class, this is a snippet of what we do. It's different every week. And next week we have Lauren Wells, who's one of the writers of What We Do in the Shadows, and we'll also be at our film festival in July. And the last thing I'll say before I turn it over to our guest is that when you pay the $99 a month, not only do you get these things every Monday currently, you also get 50% off tickets to the film festival and any of our events, 20% off classes. So if you take our academy class, which is $750, members pay $600. And then you get free mixers and other fun stuff like that. Cool. And I'll just highlight Stacy and Olga, who are on our team, press team, who do a lot of communicating and emailing. It's really cool to thank you, Stacy. It's really cool to do this work.
It's your birthday today?
Yeah,
It's Tony's
baby.
birthday, everyone. Happy birthday.
Ah,
It's your
happy
birthday?
birthday.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
happy birthday, Tony.
Thank you. I love this. I was like, I told my wife and family, okay, I'm busy till like 11:30, so we'll go do bocce ball and go moving and eat cannoli later in the afternoon. So thank you so
Oh
much.
my goodness. I'm so happy. It's big
Yeah.
21.
That's right. Times 7. All right. So today's focus is acting. And as Tristan titled it, like how the effort take is the one you want to go with. So we're going to do discussion about acting. And if you're not an actor, you're an editor or a writer or whatever, it's good to know these things because probably in some way you're going to be interacting with an actor. And that's important knowledge to have. So Mr. Schuler, you are up, dude.
Hi, y'all. I actually low-key love what Jacob did with their username and put his Instagram in there.
Please
So
do.
everyone should totally do that, because what is so beautiful about this mastermind group is the essence of community and being able to see some familiar faces repeatedly and understand, oh, this is the type of work that this person's bringing to the table. This is the type of work that I can collaborate with this person on, and getting to know people online in this really weird world that we live in, where auditions are not in person, where we are not meeting our collaborators and our fellow filmmakers in person until we're actually, on set sometimes. And I know for me as an actor, that gets extremely nerve-wracking. I'm like, when I work, I'm auditioning you just as much as you're auditioning me, because I need to make sure that this vibe works, okay? And this isn't going to be a waste of my time. And sometimes the only way you can do that is meeting someone in person. And sometimes the only way you can do that is really getting to know them. So follow each other on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram. I'm going to follow you. I love seeing some familiar faces. This is awesome. And I love seeing some new faces too. Um, we're going to talk a little bit about just the feelings and essences of what we bring to the table as actors when we're auditioning. Now, I'm a writer, director, actor. I've worked Broadway national tours, television, internationally. Most recently, I worked at a screenwriting education company called Roadmap Writers, where I trained and coached a numerous amount of writers. Some of them are which in this Zoom room right now, to hopefully bring them towards representation, literary management, and selling their scripts. But now I'm kind of on a different little bit of journey, jumping back into my acting roots, and my independent producing journey. So that being said, today we're going to talk about where we live in when it comes to getting the job as an actor. But before we jump into that, honestly, I want to just introduce everybody today. So we're going to do our little slates. I'd love to know who we all are. And I also would love to set an intention for this next 50 minutes about what we really signed up for this, what we joined today for. I think so much of going into an audition room is saying, what do I want to get out of this? And that's only up to you as a creative to do. So much of the time we have no idea what they're actually looking for. So if we go in there trying to become something that we're not because we don't want to be what they want us to be, it's going to be so unfulfilling for us as actors, right? We need to know what we want out of the situation when we walk in the room in order to get the best thing that we can get out of it. Because I don't know about y'all, but as soon as I leave the audition room, I don't think about it. I cannot think about it. But anyway, so let's, I'd love for everyone to say who you are, what's your name, what kind of your identifying career path is at this current moment in time, and then set an intention of why you logged in today and what you want to get out of this, and we'll get talking. But my name is Tristan J. Shuler. Thank you so much, Tony, for having me today to talk to some fabulous creators. I'm a writer, actor, director, and my intention today is to not feel so alone in my experiences, in putting together self-tapes and auditioning, because it can be extremely an isolating experience doing on your own. So I would love to talk about that, but that's my intention today. Valerie?
Thanks for keeping that at 30 seconds. Look at that good model there. All right, I'll go and I'll help facilitate. We'll go me and then Valerie, who I know has an actor's son. So this is good information for you to pass on. I'm Tony Gapastone, and I'm an actor and filmmaker as well. And I started this Zoom thing because I wanted to have accountability and encouragement in my own career too. And I am still acting and auditioning, and it is hard out there and trying to make my own work. So this kind of space is inspiring to me, and I'm trying to grow it because I want it. And I know if I need it, other people need it too. We'll do Valerie and then Olga and Stacy.
Hi, I'm Valerie. I am not an actor, but I'm thinking about maybe doing it. And as I know, it's crazy, right? But my son, yeah. So I've been. My son is more of a model than an actor, but has dived in a little bit. But seeing what is requested of him and the self tapes and all of that stuff is just so nerve-wracking for him. And I'm like, I could do that, like. So maybe I'll dive in a little bit, but otherwise I'm just here as a writer and to have community and learn from all of you.
So happy to have you, Valerie. Good to see you again.
Thanks, Val. Hi, everyone. I'm Olga, she, her. I'm a writer, producer, soon to be director. I am here today to get out of my shell and to do more pitching and to be more comfortable talking to people and smiling and presenting my ideas. Happy to be here. Thanks a lot. And I will pass off to Stacy.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So I'm a writer, director, producer, and I'm here because I'm not an actor, but I think it's important from a director or a producer standpoint to, know what actors, the craft and what they do. So yeah, I've taken one acting class, which didn't go well, but I plan to take some in the future. Thanks.
Why didn't it go well?
I don't even know if I should say. Yeah, they wanted me to kiss the guy. Well, they didn't want me to, but he tried to kiss me. But it was improv, and it wasn't. I didn't know beforehand.
Yeah,
so I
that's
just
weird. That's weird as hell. Yeah,
I thought so too.
Yeah,
and the instructor didn't stop it, but I pulled back.
That's problematic.
Anyway,
Yeah, pull back.
separate
Say,
conversation.
No,
You're like,
no,
yes and no. Stacey, that's so funny. All right, we'll do. By the way, as if you just came in late, welcome again. We're doing 30-second intros. Share why you are here today, what you hope to get out of it, pronouns. If you want to put your URLs to your preferred social media, as Tristan said, the relationship building. Even if you just come today and no other time, you are building relationships for this business that start here and now in this virtual space. We'll do Daniel and then Shauna.
Hey everyone, my name is Daniel. I'm an editor, so I've been doing this for a while now. So Tony invited me to join, and I started off as like, oh, I'll just take a look, and then but it's been actually very, very, very inspiring and very encouraging me to like go back into writing and directing stuff. So that's always something that's wavering above my head and all that, and just hearing everyone's ideas and hearing what everyone's up to is like, I want to do that too. So so yeah, that's me, editor and hopeful new director, writer. So yeah.
Oh, nice. Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah.
Shauna and then Elle.
Hey everyone, good morning. My name is Shauna, she, her pronouns. I am a writer and director, and I am here today because I have always wanted to learn a little more about the acting side, and pretty much almost everything that Stacey was saying about as a director, just trying to learn more about that craft and just how like what the actor process is like, and so that can help me a little bit work a little bit better with my actors as I like direct them and work with them and stuff. So that's sort of my intention for today.
Thank you, Stacey. Tony, did you grab somebody else after Stacey?
Yeah, Elle.
Sorry, I fell asleep at the wheel.
Tony.
Elle Duarte, coming to you from Oakland. My pronouns are they, them. Let's see, actor, writer. Signed up today because I feel like, well, I know that my booking rate for commercials has really gone so low once self-taping has come into play. And I think that what I wanted to focus on was, joining more community, doing this class, to sort of get past that. It's creating apathy for me. I'm submitting less. I maybe get like audition calls and then don't do it because I just feel so discouraged. So just trying to like tackle those emotions, tackle that vibe with like, okay, maybe I need to get back into class and community to like keep pushing. Yeah. Anyway, good morning all.
Thank you, Elle.
So
Belgica and then Gabriele.
Hi, I'm so excited to see everybody, but especially Tristan. I met Tristan at the film festival last year, and before I even knew anything about him, just like his energy, I was like, I want to be your friend. I think he was like one of the first people I talked to. Sorry, keeping it short. My name is Belgica Rodriguez. I am an actress, and I also have a YouTube channel, and I'm recently have been dabbling in producing. I produced one of the BraveMaker Academy shorts, and I just filmed 2 episodes of a web series that I'm starring in on Saturday, and my pronouns are she, her, and my intention for today is to just grab one new thing that I can try during my self-tapes this week.
Yeah, amazing. Good to see you.
Gabriele, Forrest, and Jacob.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Good morning. My name is Gabriele Trejo. Yes, like Danny Trejo. I'm in San Francisco. My pronouns are she, her. I'm currently a recent graduate from SF State. I did acting like as a minor, but I went back from like my grad program. I recently took the BraveMaker Acting Academy, which was really great. So I'm kind of in that exploratory acting phase. So I'm also interested in writing, and then recently just finished like a program where you explored production side of things and post-production. So I'm just currently learning how to break out from learning to acting, or taking action into all this. So just really excited to be here. Just willing to learn and be
so happy to have you here. Amazing.
Yeah.
Forrest, Jacob, Barbara.
Hi, my name is Forrest. I've been an editor for like 7 to 8 years. But starting this past December, I started delving into acting to honor a childhood dream of mine. It's been wild journey so far. People have told me it's probably the worst time to get into acting, but I've been enjoying it so far. It's been 6 months. But really, my intention here is I just want to learn as much as possible. Because I think right now I have this a little bit of anxiety of like my head knows it's not too late, but at the same time, like the body is like there's always this anxious feeling of like, oh, you got a lot of catch up to do. So I think just being around community and just being around people in just the similar creative space will help just as Tristan said, like help you feel a little less alone here. So yeah, I'm looking forward to learn anything and everything. So
Thanks,
thank you.
Forrest. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why we had this group too, is we're not alone. We need regular check-ins. So yeah, make sure you put your URL in the chat too for us. Glad you're here. Jacob, Barbara, then Veronica.
What's up, y'all? So happy to be here. Thank you, Tristan, for being the guest this week. I'm here today just to learn as much as I can. You know, I keep on reflecting on what I want to do with my life, who I want to be, and I think that one of the main things for me is I want to perform, I want to act, I want to write, I want to do all of this and make this crazy world a better place. And so, if I get a chance to learn how to audition a little bit better, how to get a little bit more in tune with how I can bring my authentic self into what I'm doing every day, then dreams will come true. We can bring a little more love into this life. So that's why I'm here today. Thank you all, and I'm excited for the rest of the session right here.
Amen.
Thank you.
Amen to all that.
Barbara, Veronica, and Amrit, if you can unmute. Last but not least, go ahead, Barbara.
I'm Barbara. Oh, it corrected itself. That's interesting. I'm Barbara Dial Schubert. I live in Sacramento. I'm an actor. I got into acting about a year ago. I mean, maybe a little more than a year ago. Again, it's similar to Forrest, to honor a childhood dream. My pronouns are she, her. I've done 3 BraveMaker sessions. I'm represented by an agency, but haven't booked anything with them yet. I get a few auditions, but haven't booked anything. I've booked stuff on my own, small little things. I'm interested in learning anything I can to improve my audition game, and also, just to learn and to have community. Thank you.
Thank you for
Thanks,
being here,
Barbara, Veronica, and Amrit.
Hey y'all, it's Veronica. Well, I'm here because
I remember you, Veronica, from last year.
yeah. Oh my gosh,
I'm so glad to see you.
it's good to see you again, and I hope to see you again this year with the film fest. Yeah, so I'm here because usually at around this time I'm like working my 9 to 5, but because I'm on my recommended sick time off, I'm making use of this time to like what a couple of people said here, which is to honor my childhood dream, and as well as to make use of my time and just not rot in bed. I just want to be surrounded first and foremost by a community of people with good vibes, people with good intentions, people of many creatives to fuel my fire at this time, to make sure that I'm taking steps further into my acting career. And if it's covered today, to take steps into getting representation if covered. And, overall to just honor that childhood dream of ours. Yeah. Thanks, Barbara. Yeah. Thanks, Barbara.
And Amrit, good to see you as well.
Yeah, good to see you as well. Hey guys, how are you? My name's Amrit. I am an actor and lifetime learner, so I'm here to learn as much as possible, create opportunities for ourselves, get out there into this world, and achieve our dreams. That's what we're all here for.
Magic. All right, cool. Thank you guys. Thank you all for doing those really, really quick intros. I know that's a lot and sometimes annoying for people, but it's really helpful to just get a touch base on where we're all at, and also to hear from each other. But okay, that person's actually in a very similar place than I am. I'm going to really keep tabs on them. That person learn from, that person maybe is a mentor-mentee energy. This is really good to know. And for me to know, because I don't want to be talking about things that isn't going to apply to anybody whatsoever. So it's really helpful for me to know where everyone's at. And it seems like we have a really nice mix of folks in a lot of different mediums, which is really quite lovely. And we're open to learning, maybe having some really interesting discussions about how we can actually improve and what tactical things we can use. I want to start talking about just kind of what El Duarte what brought up, which I think is really relatable. And a symptom of a lot of different things that come into the life of an actor and auditioning, which is this apathy, this absolute discouragement of being like, oh, burnout, right? I'm doing everything I possibly can. I'm doing everything I possibly can to be seen, to be considered. I'm working my butt off. I'm constantly submitting to jobs, and I'm kind of over it. I'm currently working through a burnout, so I totally hear you on this, right? But I want to say that apathy is this like symptom that puts us into this is a bad use of words, but it makes me feel a little lazy. Right now I feel kind of lazy because I'm like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it, right? I have to find what is the reason I don't want to do it. This is the symptom, but what is the cause, right? And I think there are 4 causes to what really messes with someone's audition game and the drive to continue the work. And the work is auditioning, right? That's the job. And unfortunately, it's a job that doesn't pay us, right? But the job is getting out there and auditioning. That is the work. So it's like, what are you doing? I know there's this big thing about LA where it's like, if you're an actor, that means you're in class. In class is not the job. In class is being in class. The job is auditioning and to get the job, right? But I know LA is like, if you're in class, that means you're a working actor, which is like not true. But we're gonna go with it. In class is in class. You're working on your craft, right? And you're building a network. That's important. But the job is auditioning. The job is going out there and getting the work, right? But how do we get the drive to do that? We have to overcome the 4 killers in my mind of auditioning, which are things that I deal with every day. Imposter syndrome, perfectionism, overwhelm, and fear. Now, all of these things are like human problems, right? Like these are not actor specific. So I think everyone, no matter if you're an actor or not, can relate to these demons. But one of my favorite things about being an actor and why I love being an actor and a writer is it is so intrinsically linked to my humanity. And the more I sit in, I think Jacob, you were saying you're authentic, bringing your authentic self to the forefront in your auditions. The more you can sit with your authentic self and know who you are, know thyself, right? The more you work through some of these human things, the actually better your acting becomes. Imposter. Thank you for typing that up, Tony. Imposter syndrome, perfectionism, overwhelm, fear. Let's talk about imposter syndrome. And I'd love to hear from some related stories or whatnot when you're building your tapes and going out on auditions. But how many times do you walk into, you get a tape request or you go into a room for a commercial audition and you're like, they don't want me. You walk in and you're the only person who looks like you, the only person who seems like you, and you're like, why did they call me into this? I'm not what they're looking for, right? Already you're setting yourself up for failure by assuming of what they want. These are the 4 riders of the apocalypse. Yes, oh god, these 4 elements are the 4 apocalyptic audition techniques. But you're setting yourself up by saying, I'm not good enough. I'm not enough. I'm not what they want, right? And I know there's all this woo-woo self-help talk of I am enough. I'm always enough. I've always been enough. That's all true. One, I want to be very clear about that. But how do you activate that, and how do you actually stand in your power of being enough? Does anyone relate to walking into a room or getting a self-tape and you're like, they don't want me. I'm not going to bother doing this because I'm not what they want. Yeah? How have you overcome that before? There's no wrong answers here, by the way.
Well, for me, I figure if this isn't what they want for this project, at least the best I can do is do my best for the next one. Just show what I can do, show who I am, and then from there, hope that I can either fit in somewhere within the project, and if not this one, then the next one.
Yeah, and what Jacob's talking about is knowing what you can control and what you cannot control. Right? I am in control of my output and what I can offer. I'm not in control of if they're interested whatsoever, but I'm in control of how well I do. right? I think it's really good to remind yourself, weekly, what you're actually in control of when it comes to acting and the acting world. What can I do this week that I'm responsible for? So many times I walk on set, so many times I walk into a rehearsal room and I go, oh God, it's so clear that I'm the bottom of the totem pole here. And that sometimes feels very daunting and feels like I have no control or no power. However, it's freeing, because if you're the bottom of the totem pole, that means you can kind of do whatever you want to do. Okay? And they'll direct you if they want something different. So that should be a freeing thing, knowing that, okay, I'm just the actor here. That's okay. I can play. It's my job to play. It's not my job to control, right? Um my key to unlocking imposter syndrome is allowing the truth to come that you have no idea what they want. You have no idea what they want. And it's not about being good or not being good. It's not about being good enough. In fact, most people who book aren't that good. And that's just the truth. Okay? It's about being right for the project. Right? There is no, am I good enough? Am I good? Did I do that right? It's about, did I match what the needs were? Right? And releasing that I need to perform the best I can, and if I'm the best I can, I'll book the job. That's a lie, unfortunately. It's just a lie. Hollywood is not a meritocracy, and that's okay. All right? So let the projects that are meant for you come to you, and let the ones that are not meant for you miss you. Because what is meant for you will not miss you. All right? Just because you didn't book doesn't mean you're not good enough. It means that just didn't fit at that time. And honestly, you'll probably be grateful about it later. Let's talk about perfectionism, because I know that my apathy comes from my perfectionism. My oh, I'm frozen, I'm numb, I can't do anything right now. It's because I want to make sure that I am putting my best foot forward all the time, and I have to smack myself in the face a lot to be like, "No, it's okay. My mistakes are perfect." There's this huge wave in the last decade of actors who are booking who are not actors, right? That's exciting. So I know Forrest was like, I feel like I have to catch up, or I've missed time, or what. Bullshit. Cut it out. These are narratives. All right? These are narratives in our mind. You are perfect as you are, because we're humans telling human stories, right? Having all the acting training or all the acting experience or whatever, yeah, it will serve you, but it doesn't matter to book the job. It simply doesn't matter to book the job. In fact, so many times I get called in and they're like, we're not looking for actors. And I'm like, did you look at my resume? Because I'm very much an actor. So why are you calling me in? So I'm just gonna pretend like I don't have any of those experiences and just come in and be a chill guy, sure. But that is very common, especially in commercial world. They're not looking for actors, right? They're looking for people, authentic people. Recently, and I'm curious if anyone else can relate to this. Recently, I've been told I'm too pretty for a lot of work, specifically in commercial. And I've really had to strap in and go, okay, got it. Cool. I'm not relatable looking. Got it. I'm not going to work commercially as much as I thought I was a couple of years ago. No big deal. And, we take all the things, you're to this, you're to this, you're to this. I'm perfect the way I am. But, my point being, my point being, I I totally forgot my point. I'm so sorry. I come in being as perfect as I am, and you can take it or leave it. You can take it or leave it. All right. Whether I'm an actor, whether I'm not an actor, doesn't matter. I'm a human being, and I don't need to be perfect. I don't need to worry about that self-tape being, oh my God. Okay, so I worked this one great story. Yes, people actually say those things. You're to this, yes. It's crazy, Stacey. It's crazy. Water off a duck's back, always. I was working in talent management for a little bit, for about 6 months at Bohemia Group Originals, in Bohemia Management. And one of our clients, he was self-taping in his backyard all the time. And we had a problem with it at first because we were like, this isn't going to look great. This is going to be distracting, blah, 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 blah. But he's a great actor. There was one tape where he was self-taping in his backyard while his neighbor was like leaf blowing or mowing the lawn or something. And a branch literally fell off of a tree and into his self-tape. And he submitted this to us. And it was the deadline, and we were like, I don't know what we're doing. I mean, it's a good performance, but this is an absolute mess. And he is on The Resident, the Shonda Rhimes show right now, which actually they're retaping a bunch of stuff because someone passed away. But he literally booked a series regular from a tape of a branch falling onto a self-tape in his backyard. I'm not joking with you. When he booked this job for so much money, I went, oh, your mistakes are perfect. Perfectionism isn't a thing, right? Needing to have the perfect lighting and the perfect background and all of that is wasted energy, because what you could be worrying about is your performance and your output, right? Because that's what's coming on set. And truthfully, there's something quite endearing for creatives. Maybe not all casting directors. Some casting directors will absolutely have a problem with this, but for creative to see who you are when there's not glitz and glamour, when you're not done up with all makeup, when there's not perfect lighting, when it's just they can see you as a human and go, that's who's coming to set every day. That's actually what we want to be showing on our tapes. We don't want to be full beat, okay? We don't want to look perfect. We want to look like the person that's going to walk in on set every day. Does that make sense? The last thing any director wants is to book someone and then they show up looking not anything like they taped with, right? They want someone who looks real and is someone who is relatable and go, okay, that's their authentic self. Perfectionism is a waste of time. And I'm telling myself this right now, okay? Overwhelm. Does anyone feel like there's just so much on your shoulders when you're auditioning? Like it's up to you to fix the project or make the script good, or up to you to make the role work, or up to you to, oh my God, right? It's a team effort, all right? If you're not getting notes, if you're not getting feedback from the director in an in-person session, right? Then it's not up to them if you're good enough. Remember that it's not completely up to you. Like I said earlier as a joke, but it's true. Like you're the bottom of the totem pole here as an actor. Okay? It's not up to you to make the job work. It's up to you to bring your best self to the job. That's your job. I'm not sure where we started to feel as actors that we had all the responsibility in the world to make a project work. It's not true, right? It takes a village, as all of us know as filmmakers, especially if you're in the BraveMaker community. It takes a village to make a film. The self-taping process, which we'll talk about, I'm no doubt we'll talk about a little bit more about self-taping in a couple seconds, has put this in our mind that we have to set the camera, we have to set the lights, we have to do this, we have to make sure the eye line's great, we have to make sure the reader is set, we have to hire the reader, we have to do this, blah, blah, blah. So in our minds, I think we've lied to ourselves a little bit that we're responsible for everything, when it's actually not true. We're responsible for what we put out on the table. Yes, in the audition game, when it's self-taping, we are responsible for a little bit more than we should be, right? But that's just the beast right now, and that's okay. Allow that to be the beast, but then release the need to have all of that be perfect, right? I get overwhelmed by my perfectionism, personally. And the last thing I want to talk about is fear. What are we afraid of when it comes to taping and auditioning? There's no wrong answers here. Does anyone experience fear when they're taping? Veronica, what do you ever fear when you're putting together a tape?
I see this entire 4 killers as a Venn diagram. The fear is the lack of perfectionism, or the lack of perfection in what you perform, and the fear is rejection, definitely. The fear is like other precipitating factors, like that physically manifests on you. Like maybe, for example, you didn't have coffee on that day. I'm afraid that they may see that I'm tired, or something traumatic happened at work. I feel like it might manifest in my performance. Therefore, it might contribute to the imperfection of the performance.
You're so right that all of these really do actually feed into each other. The fear of perfectionism and the imposter syndrome that I'm not enough or that I'm not this and I'm overwhelmed by this feeling. You're so right in all of that. And I can they see if I'm tired? So what? I am tired. You sent me this tape last night. So what? Also, everyone is aware of what the game is too, Veronica, and everybody, which is why this is so. Casting directors know what they're asking is often crazy. They know this, right? So allowing yourself the freedom to be like, you know what? You put me under. You made me learn 7 sides in less than 24 hours. You did that. So you're gonna have to be okay that I'm not memorized. And they will be, okay, as long as you're giving the performance, right? I know when it comes to overwhelm, I know a lot of actors that I work with really try and be off book for their self-tapes. I'm Baliga, we'll get to your question in a second. I don't know if I've memorized for a self-tape in over 5 years. I don't think I do. I teleprompter all of that nonsense, right? And I put my script right where my eye line is, and I deliver everything I want right to them, no matter how passionate or whatever it is, right to my script, okay? Because one, I ain't gonna memorize stuff unless you're paying me, and two, you sent this to me last night, okay? You sent this to me last night. The turnaround time, no one's an idiot. No one's expecting perfection, right? They'll be able to direct you to that on set, to what they need. And I know that I often usually do like 3 takes when I do a self-tape, and I always love my first one the best. Why? Because I can tell that in my second and third one, I'm trying to fix things, and I'm trying to be something else. I'm trying to, oh, that's a moment that I want to make sure I hit. That's a moment I want to make sure I hit, and it feels forced, right? And the reason it feels forced, and this is not a bad thing, but the reason it feels forced is because we are putting on full performances on tape without rehearsal, with sometimes 12 hours notice, okay? It's gonna feel forced because it's our first rehearsal, guys. It's gonna feel forced. However, that first take is so often the one that you're like, I'm just gonna try something. And so often it's the one that actually works, and because it shows you in the best, most authentic light. Of course, if you fuck up and you like lose a line or sneeze or whatever, you're not going to use the first take or whatever, right? But if it's a strong take, why are we continuing to beat ourselves up and over again, do 5, 6, 7 takes? Why are we doing that to ourselves? Right? You are enough. Use that work and bring it. Beliga, I know you had a question.
It wasn't a question. I was just going to give you a fear. I think I am a terrible actor compared to me a year from today. So my fear is that this audition that I send today is a bad one. So the casting director would be like, you know what? We're done asking for her to send in self-tapes. Just like I fear a bad self-tape.
That might ruin a relationship.
Yeah. Like if I didn't, if I didn't connect to the character or whatever, and it was just a bad audition, I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
And I'm sending it in because that's just the person that I am. If you ask me for a self-tape, I will get it to you, and I will often get it to you before you even ask for it, before the deadline. And because of all of those things, sometimes I shoot myself, what's the saying, in the foot. And then I send in a tape that I'm like, ugh, yuck. That looks like me a year ago or 2 years ago.
The exciting thing is the version of you today is a worse actor than the version of you that you're gonna be in a year ago, because you're gonna be even better in a year. So that's actually great. That's the exciting thing. What I want to kind of dismantle from this narrative that you've created, or that not you've created, that has been created around you, that you might break a relationship from a bad audition, The only way you can break a relationship is if you do something really weird and inappropriate on a tape. That is the only way casting director is going to be like, okay, this is not the vibe. If you just are off, okay, on to the next one. Because casting directors are auditioning for their jobs just as much as you are. All right, they're grinding the same way we're grinding. So dismantle the idea that you're going to ruin the relationship because you didn't give the performance of your lifetime. If you were expected to give the performance of your lifetime for all 12 tapes you do every week, I mean, come on. What's the expectation here, right? It's not about being perfect and being doing amazing, right? It's about, is this the right fit for this project? Is this the right fit for this role? Half the time it has to do with, is this the right look? Right? Which is something we cannot control. We simply cannot control what we look like. Right? We can certainly try, but gosh, that's a lot of work. But it's not about that. I know I fear that sometimes. I often feel like, oh God, if I don't get that tape in time, the casting director is not going to call me back. Or if I say no, if I pass, the casting director is going to be pissed. They don't even know. They barely even remember half the time. They barely even remember. And this happens actually a lot for me, is sometimes when I just let a tape go by and they actually are considering me, they'll reach out and say, hey, I know it's past the deadline. Are you still sending something? Because we're waiting for you specifically. And I'm like, oh, what a compliment. And two, yes, I'll actually get that together today then, right? But they're working. They're doing their jobs, okay? They're doing their jobs and they have their pinned list. Of course, they have their list of people that they don't know, that they're actually aren't pinned, and they just want to see what their work is like. But the process of being a casting director is almost an educational field too. They want to see you grow. So usually they have a specific list of folks that they know and that they're going to give priority to. That's just the Nepo way of the world, right? And usually they have a certain amount of folks that they call in that they don't know because they want to just see new talent and get new people on their list, right? That's an exciting and scary place to be when you're meeting a new casting director for the first time. That is an extremely exciting and scary place to be because you're like, this could be the make it or break it moment that could show blah, blah, blah. Most likely when you're called in for a new casting director, you're not going to get a call back because they just called you in because they wanted to see your work for the first time. And looking at it like that from like, oh, they're doing business. They might not actually be considering me for this role. Okay, got it. Which means sometimes we can't get into the mindset of this tape has to be perfect because this could be my shit. Because sometimes that's not why they're calling us in. Sometimes they're not actually calling us in because they think they want us to have the job. They're calling us in because they want to see our work because they think that they want to continue to call us in for other things.
Tristan, I wanted to co-sign on something real quick. In this quick 3 snippets, and this connects with you, Shauna, who was just casting for her short film that I was helping produce. We did a casting call. You know, Belgica got cast, Elle got cast, and there was 1 or 2 people who didn't show up at all, who we never even heard from. I cannot remember their names.
Not at all.
Because we are so busy moving forward and doing things. I know there are people who didn't show up. I could go back and look it up, but I don't have the time.
No.
I do not care. So if they didn't show up, I'm like, whatever. I'm moving forward. Second thing I will say is, again, having cast a lot of projects, cast, by the way, we don't say casted. I'm not saying that to anybody particular, but it's cast. There's no past tense of casted. So get that word out of your vocabulary. So I've cast many projects in the past, and I have worked with actors who sometimes don't give good performances, but I know they can get there. I will call them back again, even if they've given a bad audition. I have cast somebody because I know I can get them there as a director on set. And I've recast people who sometimes forget lines. This is a common occurrence. I have cast people again who've been a little maybe slow to get the takes to where we want them to be on set because they're a great person, because they're good to work with, and I know they have the talent and the look. But third snippet, I have worked with people that are uber talented, get good auditions, but are really problematic on set, who I have not worked with again. In fact, some of you know the BraveMaker Academy, we have this page where I send out to people who are casting things. And I recently sent out our casting page, highlighted some of you all who are on there. And the person came back to me and said, I remember this actor who was there last time you sent. They're not there anymore. I was like, yep, I'm not working with this person anymore because they're very challenging on set. I recommended them somewhere else and got some bad feedback. I will never work with that person again. That's really the only thing that's going to blacklist you in my mind. Bad auditions, messing up lines, that's not it. You know, it's just being a friggin' jerk. That's really
being a jerk in person, and email etiquette. Like being a jerk via email will also make someone not want to call you in. But it's just being a jerk. Don't be a jerk. Just be a good human being. Just be a good human being and do your job. But yeah, if you don't show up, unless it's like a callback, right? If you don't show up for a pre-screen or a first call, like they do not even, they're moving on. They're moving. So thank you, Tony, for saying that, because it's so true. But they will remember if you email 14 times the day of and reschedule 3 times and then don't show up, because you've made them remember you. Right? You have gone out of your way to make them remember you. Now they're gonna be like, oh, that name really, I don't know, I don't remember that person, but that name makes me feel something. Because I've seen that email a few times. So just do as best you can, right? Our jobs are to be as fearless, as captivating, as real, and as honest as humanly possible. We cannot do those 4 things if we're beating ourselves up over every little thing, over our imposter syndrome, perfectionism, overwhelm, and fear. If we're self-flagellating all these things, we are actually doing our actor self a disservice. We're not being as authentic, real, honest, fearless, captivating, right? Sometimes I feel like in order to continue being a good creative, I have to disassociate from reality a little bit. Does anyone relate to this, or is this just a Tristan thing? Where it's like, that is gonna ruin my week right there. So, and if I ruin my week, my audition on Wednesday is going to be absolutely trash, because I'm gonna be in a mood and I'm gonna pretend like that doesn't exist. Boop. Over here, because I have work to do this week where I have to be free and I can't be living in fear. Right? Because that'll show. I think Veronica mentioned, what if they see I'm tired? Everyone gets tired. There's makeup for that, right? What we can't cover up is being afraid and not committing to the choice. There's no makeup for that, right? There's no makeup for that. Let's talk a little bit about any thoughts, any reflections, any ideas that we want to share before we just talk about like self-tape logistics. But this is like a free form. I want to hear anyone's thoughts, if anything's resonating, or if you want to share anything that you might want to unpack a little bit as well. That the point of these is this. Veronica, what's up?
I've been taking notes, and I truly resonate with you when you said the first take is always the best because it feels genuine and authentic. And funny enough,
it's usually, sorry to cut you off, Veronica. It's usually the first take because you weren't trying as much. You weren't trying to fix anything. Or it's the last take when you're over it and pissed and don't want to fucking book it anymore. And there's literally acting tech. If anyone's ever studied Grotowski or Gaga method, these 2 acting techniques are literally techniques that are meant to exhaust you to the point where you cannot try anymore. And that's when you go. I spent 6 weeks at this intercultural festival in Italy. Sorry, Veronica, hold that question. I know you're good at holding questions, so don't lose it. But I spent 6 weeks in Italy studying Grotowski, and with these crazy Italian theater practitioners who would literally grab my head and throw me to the ground, and they'd go, do it again, do it again, do it again. And I'd be sweating and crying, and I'd be like, I'm good, I'm done. And as soon as you think you're done, they'd go, now, go. And I'd do it, and I would just be exhausted and over it. And they'd be, thank you, good job. I'm like, what are you doing to me? This is torture. This is abuse. This is absolute abuse. But the point of the method and the point of the technique is to exhaust you so that you stop getting in your own way. You stop getting in your own way. Doing tapes tired is actually great, Veronica, because you are not actually thinking about all the ways that you can fix yourself. You don't have the brain capacity. It's too early for me to be self-conscious, right? Or it's too late. I need to go to bed soon. I need to get this done. But I only bring these things up because there's centuries long of studies of acting technique to exhaust you to the point that you can stop getting in your own way, because that's what we do as humans. We always get in our own way, right? It's about releasing those defense mechanisms, about releasing those fear mechanisms. Because like I said, we can cover up tiredness, but we can't cover up fear. Just continue your question though. Sorry, Veronica.
10 minutes
No.
left, y'all. 10 minutes left.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that the phrase "you are enough" is also the same motto or lingo that my current acting school also teaches.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry?
What's the phrase? What's the phrase that he uses?
You are enough.
When it's true, it's true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
There's no arguing about it. There's just no arguing about it. You are enough. You have always been enough. And you will always be enough.
And keep in mind, actors, we want to book human beings, right? We want to book flawed people. So we're looking for those cracks, you know, and those flaws and unpolishedness sometimes.
In fact, I mean, you know, a mantra I say to myself a lot is my mistakes are perfect. And I say this a lot. My mistakes are perfect. Ooh, my mistakes are so perfect. Because my mistakes are often what book me. Because they can see that crack and go, oh, that's new. That's different. That's not what everyone else has brought to the table. And again, I will specify, I work in musical theater and I work in television. Television is what I'm talking about. Musical theater is a little less forgiving for mistakes. I will be clear about that. But I don't think anyone here is worried about musical theater. I don't think that's where anyone's at. Musical theater is a little bit more rewarding of whatever perfection means, which is very annoying. But when it comes to screen work, it's like that thing about you that makes you different and nuanced and human and flawed. Not manufacturing it, because you can't manufacture it, right? But allowing for it is sometimes what will turn a good tape into an irresistible tape.
Forrest, did you have something you wanted to say or comment?
I did, but just for the interest of time, because I know there's so stuff to go over, I'll just type it out and leave it into the section.
Forrest, now's a good time. Now's a good time.
It's okay. I actually just typed it out just now, but yeah, I'll just share it. But I know you still got some stuff to go over, so I want to respect everyone's time. So
exactly. Yes, what Forrester said is good. I just sped read it, but absolutely all of the above. Anyone have any other thoughts, questions, things before we talk about self-tapes? Anything that people are struggling with when it comes to self-tapes specifically?
I actually, yeah, do. So I know you've mentioned about like especially when it comes to like self-tapes, there's that fear of like submitting it like too late. I'm just curious about, so a lot of the tapes I've been getting or the auditions I've been getting for self-tapes it's often very like it's like student projects and like, you know, low budget projects. And I know you guys have mentioned about like a lot of these independent projects, you know, you guys have so much on your plate that you're not like you have so much to worry about that it's uh like you can't go through like all the editions at once. So when you post something on like as a casting director, when you post something on like Actors Access trying to find like a deadline, there's like I often as a procrastinator, I end up waiting until like the day of or like the day before like the deadline to try to get like the best like performance like out there, but there's always like a fear in the back of my mind. It's like, oh, like am I spending way too much time trying to like get there that like as like that I forget to like actually like deliver like the take, or like by then it's like at like
meeting the deadlines.
Yeah, or just like as like casting directors, like sometimes I think it's like, oh, like within the first 2 days, if they already found someone that's like that works for
They'll
them,
usually tell you, not to cut you off, but I know where you're going. They'll tell you if they're receiving tapes on a rolling basis. They'll literally say send preference if you send early, we'll be watching on a rolling basis. They'll say something like that.
Oh,
and if
okay.
they say something like that, then you're like, okay, cool. Like I actually might get preference if I send it earlier. But unless they say that, the deadline's the deadline. They're not gonna be making choices before the deadline. But if they say that, then they're literally telling you we might make a choice before the deadline. And that's them being upfront, which I actually prefer. So make sure that you read the whole EcoCast or audition notice and say, are they watching on a rolling basis or not? Because if they are
rolling
watching
basis,
on a rolling
okay,
basis,
gotcha. Okay.
then you do want to kind of get in as fast as possible. But if it doesn't say that anywhere, the deadline is just fine.
Okay.
It's just fine.
Thank
And most of the time, the deadline is still a day or two before creative is even going to watch the tape in the first place. Because most of the time, this, depending on the level of the project, independent is different, of course, and the student films are probably watching more on rolling basis for student films. But if it's a larger budget project, the CD has to come up with a package to pitch the actors to the creative. So they're not coming up with that package until the deadline is done for them to have chosen the actors that they're gonna forward to creative.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And then sometimes for TV, like it moves so fast for TV, but also you're not gonna have more than 24 hours to do a TV tape. It's just like sometimes it's like this is due tomorrow because we shoot the day after. And they're only watching the first 15 seconds of your tape anyway at that point. So those first 15-30 seconds of your tape is everything. That's the most important is starting off strong. So you should know if it's a good take or not by the time you're at your like minute mark. Then you could just have fun. But if you don't feel good after 30 seconds to a minute of your tape and you're like, okay, I'm not doing well, start over. That's okay. But if you feel strong on your take in the first 30 seconds to a minute, then it's probably a strong take. Yeah.
Interesting. I'll just add to this, looking at Veronica's comments, but just thinking about, challenges on self-tapes. If you feel like you're wasting your energy on getting the perfect lighting, I mean, just keep it as simple as possible. We want you to look good. Don't have distracting things in the background. I think, one time, Veronica, you sent me your tape and I just said, oh, I would just crop it a little closer so we're not seeing, a laundry thing in the background or whatever. I can't remember exactly what it was, but we do care about those kind of things. And you don't have to have a $300, $400 lighting setup. Just open your window and get the direct lighting, whatever. But just simple background as much as possible. We're not going to cancel you out if it's not a perfect studio setting. We're not. And you all know, if you are in the Bay Area, like Jacob asked last week, we have the studio here. If I'm around and you can use the space, I will let you use it. Like, we want to make it easy for you to get your auditions done, but it does not have to be super complicated and professional.
No, not at all. I just want to remind everybody, this is an extreme situation, but this client booked a Shonda Rhimes series regular in his backyard when a branch fell onto his self-tape. I just want to do not allow the worry of what's around you to stop you from doing your work. Yes, you want to eliminate any reasons for them to say no. That's very important, especially if you're meeting a new casting director, and especially if you have an agent who's really nitpicky. Right? Oftentimes, though, it's the middlemen who are going to be the ones who are nitpicky, not the person making the decision, because the middlemen have to do their job in order to please the person making the decision, right? So oftentimes it's not the director who gives a shit. It's the casting director who has to make sure the director likes it, or it's the agent who has to make sure the casting director. So just knowing kind of who you're pleasing is really important too. And I saw something come through about finding a reader, and I relate to this so because sometimes I feel like I spend so much time securing a reader, and then I spend no time doing the tape, and I'm like, wow, I'm already exhausted just by looking for someone to read for me. Any of you can DM me on Instagram. I may not respond in time, but any of you can be like, hey, I'm doing a tape from at this time tonight. Can you read for me? And I mean that. Because I need that as Tristan too. Any of you can DM me and just be like, what you can't do is say you need a reader and then take 2 hours on your tape. But we can definitely do a 20-minute read session. Absolutely.
That's community for you right there. So if you never come back to this mastermind Monday, 10 a.m., there you go. Your invitation is there.
And I mean it from the deepest core of my being. You can DM me and be like, hey, are you free in an hour?
Do it.
For 20 minutes, and I will hop on a Zoom and read for you. Yes.
So we're ending this call in like 2 minutes, but do not end this call without making sure you follow every single person who's in that chat, because this is where you are going to build those relationships. And if you're not planning on coming to the festival July 11 to 14, then what are you doing? No, just kidding. This is a way you can build more relationships. Really, it truly takes a village and a community. I put Belhika's YouTube link in there. She has a whole tutorial on doing this stuff. This is so great, Tristan. This is Tristan's second time being with us. There is a breadth of community we are trying to develop. Stacy and Olga, who are doing communication stuff and filmmaking themselves. We want to be seeing people cast each other in here and write things specifically for each other and edit things and all the like. So we are really, really ecstatic. If you like this community, it's $99 a month. You get, if you just got the Zooms, that would be enough, but you also get the discounts and the other things that come with it. Next week is Lauren Wells from What We Do in the Shadows, who also wrote 2 different podcasts. One of her podcasts just went to Tribeca. So you get to meet these person and develop relationships. And Tristan just said, DM him. I mean, who does that? This is huge. Tristan, who's in LA in Strange Loop at,
Oh yeah, and if you're in Los Angeles, come see a Strange Loop. We close next Sunday.
Amazing.
Pulitzer Prize, Tony winning show. Come through. This is the last version of the Broadway production that's going to be in existence. So if you're in LA this week, come and see it.
Knowing Tristan, you never know where all these people and these relationships are going to go. Honestly, it truly is beautiful. Tristan, final words. Anything else you want to say?
Your mistakes are perfect. You are enough. And you are not alone. Knowing that everyone wants to do good work. That's all you're responsible for, is doing good work. So keep it up.
Awesome.
I can't wait to see y'all.
If you're watching this on the replay, check out bravemaker.com/membership, and you can find out more information. And hopefully we'll see you all sometime. Thanks, Forrest, and everybody else who joined in for the first time for free. Peace out, everybody.
Happy birthday, Tony.
Thank you. See you later.
It's your birthday? Happy birthday.
My birthday. Thank you. Awesome. Much love to you all. Brave stories change the world. You are the story. See you soon. Bye. Thanks, Tristan.